Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Friday morning Course in Miracles. I'm Lisa Natoli, and I'm going to be teaching today. Welcome, live streamers. And the topic for today is the power of magnetism. So I'm going to be talking about this whole idea of being lifted up from the earth. So Jesus said 2,000 years ago, if I be lifted up from the earth, all men shall be drawn unto me. So I want to talk about what that is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about chapter 25 in A Course in Miracles, and I'll just give a couple of announcements, and my brain goes, so I'm sure Bill's going to help me out with some of this. We have our last Friday group on December 6th, which is a Friday. How am I doing?
Last Friday.
And it's here. And I also found out that some of the people in our Living in Purpose Mastery program have been wanting to come here. It's on their bucket list. And now that they heard it's ending, it's like, oh my God. And I love that, because that's what happens. We always think, oh, I have all this time, and life slows down. And then the thing you wanted to do just disappears off the planet, right? And you're like, no, I was gonna do it. I was gonna go. And so 2 people from Living in Purpose told me yesterday that they're coming. And so I think on the Thursday before the last Friday, I know I'm going out to dinner. You're going to go. We're just going to plan something in Portsmouth for anybody who wants to join in. I don't know what that's going to look like, but, and so that'll be the last class. And then the next weekend, which is December 14th and 15th, we're doing a 40-day launch app party at the Sheraton Hotel, Harborside Hotel in Portsmouth, New Hampshire from 9 a.m. to 12. And then I'm doing a Healing Cure retreat workshop for Saturday afternoon from 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock, and then Sunday morning from 9 to 12. So you can find details on that at lisanatoli.com, our website. You can sign up for that. And what else, Bill? Jennifer Hadley is in the Presenters series this month. And what's going to be happening is we're going to start something that's called Teachers of God TV. And right now we have 4 different interviewers. I'm one of them. Bill's one of them. And who else, Bill? Irene, you're one of the interviewers. And
we have all of this information is being put together in the form of a digital flyer, and it'll be sent out to everyone. But Lisa will be doing once a month. She'll be doing a presentation on healing and whatever she's related to that, and that'll be her topic and theme for the year. And then Irene will be doing, and everyone has agreed to be 12-month presenters. So this is a rotation of presenters that you'll see in a calendar every month. And Irene is going to be doing A Course in Miracles and the 12-step program. I will be doing a talk on A Course in Miracles specifically, and non-duality, and how to see non-duality in the Course. And I'll be doing that with a woman that's been has been with Rupert Spira for about 20 years, and she and I will be co-hosting that. And then Kelly Russell will be doing a presentation on relationships and forgiveness. So that'll be a lineup. And then on the 4 weeks that we have extra in the year, because that's 48 weeks, we're going to have surprise guests. Mm-hmm. And then we're also going to have open mic once a month. It'll be up to a couple of people that are planned to co-host that, but it's in the works. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. And that's really always been the vision of the Teachers of God Foundation is that it's an activation place for different individuals to really step up and start teaching, start giving, start sharing. And that's what we saw. We do every month in our Living in Purpose Mastery group. Bill and I do first Thursday of the month is for a Zoom call. And what's been amazing to me to see over the years is how many unknown brilliant teachers, and we see them right here in this class. You can see, like, when someone gets up here and takes the microphone, they might not be a quote unquote well-known Course in Miracles teacher, because like in the world it just seems like there's just a group of what's known as Course in Miracles teachers. But what's coming up is more and more people that are really just living this message. And what I always have wanted to do is to invite people to start teaching, to really say, okay, like, you should be on a stage. And I invite people to come to the yearly Course in Miracle conferences. The next one's in May 2020 in Los Angeles. And I'm constantly telling Tony Ponticello, you need to look at this person. We need to get them on the stage. And next year, we have a lot of brand new presenters in Los Angeles. And there's so many different opportunities for people to start sharing what has been given to you. And that's how you keep it. And what's been amazing to me since we stopped, we said, okay, no more Friday group here. We have been getting so many emails from people telling me about groups that they started. You guys are awesome. And you started one, Nancy, with Chris here, which is still going to happen on Sunday afternoons. But people are saying, well, now that the Friday group isn't happening, like I got an invitation from a group in Canada, Joel Korn, I love you, 25 people meet, and he's asked me and Bill to come on to the video to come into their group. We have, I got another message this morning we got from Sue, and she started a group, have 7 people. I think they're going to come to the Portsmouth event. They're saying, well, no, that's Jane. Oh, that's Jane. And then we met with someone yesterday who's decided to start a group in Ireland. This is what we wanted. Like, we could have known this. Like, and we're also getting messages, some people saying, I'm so sad. But I love that suddenly it has been an activating force for people to say, well, if the group doesn't exist anymore, what can I do? Well, how can I share it rather than looking here for inspiration? How can you be the inspiration?
Well, the thing is that the TGF TV is going to help support the programs that the Teachers of God Foundation puts on. And if you want to be in the presenter series only, it's going to be $18 a month. That's $4.50 a week, where you can support the foundation and the presenters that are part of TGF TV. So that's going to be a no-brainer, really. Yeah. That's a cup of coffee. That's for TGF TV. It's going to be available outside of the presenter series, outside of Evolve. That's going to be individually available for everyone. And if you don't want to be in presenter series, you don't have to be. You'll be able to have that. But the other thing is that if you're in these programs that are being put together, you're going to be able to live stream to these events, and it's not going to be any cost to you if you're in the event in the thing called Evolve. That's going to be no cost to you, or show up in person and get a discount if it's a paid for event. And if it's a 40-day event, it's going to be free. So we're trying to make these things available to everyone at minimal cost, and you're going to be able to be part of the live streaming. That you can be part of the TGF TV for half of what we've been asking for the guys that show up here in person for $10. Yeah. And a lot of people don't put into that. They think the Teachers of God Foundation has lots of money. Well, we don't. We live just like the rest of the world, and we actually live in trust. And so these programs are going to help support the the ability for the Teachers of God Foundation to keep the word out there and the message, and all of these teachers that are gathering from around the world to be part of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. So we are now going to greet each other in love and holiness, and just if everybody can rise. I love you guys.
You need to rise to greet.
Rise, greet.
Rise.
What about it?
Do we have anybody to the cafe gratitude? Okay.
Oh no.
Morning.
How are you? They had a great weekend.
Morning, sweetie.
Namaste. You look nice. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're letting it grow a little bit. So of course I'm here. Shine.
Are you still going tomorrow? Okay. So I'll give you a call. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was someone else? See, it says sure. Okay, and I'm saying, so you're going to do it.
Made lemon squares last night.
Look at you, your foot's all better. Your legs all better, whatever it was.
Love's coming back.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's gonna start after everything's done. So, yeah. How old
Long time.
Okay. I also just heard and remembered, I didn't know that this was an actual done deal, but Sandy Zimmerman has opened up her home on Friday morning for A Course in Miracles. How awesome is that? So she lives where? Where? Where is that? Tobsfield, Massachusetts. Okay. That's awesome. So I'm going to invite Bonnie Kimball up to do our Cafe Gratitude.
There we go, yay.
Good morning. Hey, y'all. Good morning. Hey, y'all. Yeah, we were in Texas. Hey, y'all. You know, it's hard. We lived in Southern Illinois for a lot of years, and so it's kind of hard to imagine now, but we all had Southern accents at one time. And so when I get down there and get around them, you just like, you kind of slide into it a little bit. I thought, you know, they probably think I'm faking this, but it's coming out this way. So, yeah. So, y'all. Anyway, so Here is the reading for the day from Marion Woodman. It takes great courage to break with one's past history. And I thought, how perfect is that for A Course in Miracles? Because does take a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to go through letting things go. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's so worth it, as we all know. And the little one on the bottom, who has contributed to your life? Yes. And I often think of that because it seems like our life may be random, but doing this Course in Miracles and being in this spiritual path, I realize I've been led around by my nose all my life because I've always been where I need to be and doing what I need to be doing. And I can be me and help other people with the things I can help them with if I hadn't gone through the things I've gone through. So from the very beginning, I can probably give it to my parents, even though those are the ones that I really work hard in the forgiveness area with, in starting this all for me. So that's it.
And look, we're twins.
We are. We're twins.
Bonnie just gave this to me today. I love you too. Thank you. Can I have that back too? I want to just open up. That was such a good question. Which one was it? November 8th. It takes great courage to break with one's past history. It takes great courage to break with one's past history. So who's ready to do that? Everybody? Who wants to hold on to their past just a little bit? Anybody? A little bit? A little bit? And, Jesus in A Course in Miracles says, just hang on to the parts that are good. Just let everything else go. It's not serving you at all. And I have a question for you. What?
If it's like a weight, let it
It is like a weight. Just let it drop. Yes, thank you. So as I stand here in front of you, or when you think of me, do you know that the Christ is in front of you? Do you lose your flippin' mind when you see me? Every single time. I'm serious.
I do.
I want you to turn to the guy next to you. Lose your flippin' mind when you see that person or think of them.
Everyone over there too.
Now, so this is a little bit, because you guys have been here for a long time. You guys have been, doing the mind training. You get it. But I really want you to consider this. Today, what I'm going to talk about is the power of magnetism. And so Jesus said 2,000 years ago, and I be lifted up, I shall all men unto me. So I, that is the Christ, is lifted up. It literally, Christ is risen. And it sounds religious, and I'm going to read from chapter 25. But the Christ is risen. I, Lisa, am not Christ. This body is not Christ. This body is not the Son of God. But the light that was hidden under all of my grievances, all of my judgments, all of my worry, shame, doubt, guilt, all the stories were hiding the light that is in me. And the work of A Course in Miracles, or any spiritual path, is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So the section that I want to read today is all about that the Christ in you inhabits not a body. Okay, but the Christ is in you. And so this is such an interesting question. So when you think about me on a regular basis, or just when it comes into your mind, do you think there's the Christ? When you think about someone you see on Facebook, when you think about your worst enemy, do you think?
Every now and then, but not all the time.
But see, this is the work. And now we're going to take it right to the best part. When you think of yourself, do you lose your flippin' mind in excitement? I'm not kidding. Like it starts to happen. Like it starts to come alive in you, where you have a direct experience is in me, Christ as me. And now I manifest Christ, and that is where my joy comes from, because it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's fun. Like it really is. Like I just wonder what the day will bring as I carry this light with me, aware of this presence as myself. And the body, Lisa, just becomes like a vehicle that carries this. And so often there's an idea of what Christ looks like. And it definitely doesn't look like this, right? Like it's got to be more serious. It's got to be more sacred. It's got to be more something different. And then the mind says, well, the body's still not perfect, and I'm experiencing this sickness. And then it goes into like all the things that you think Christ would do. Like, oh, Christ wouldn't eat meat. Christ wouldn't wear glasses or hearing aids. Christ wouldn't, whatever the idea is. No, you're it. This is what it looks like. Whatever your life looks like, you carry the Christ, and in most cases, unknowingly. Would Christ sniffle like that? Totally. Yes, totally. But that is where, does the Christ drink coffee? Does the Christ swear?
Yeah.
Like it really becomes like where you really can come into a direct experience where you are just living in awareness of this presence and this power and this holiness. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the power of magnetism is because I love that idea of rising up out of the story, rising up out of all of the ways that we hold ourselves in a gravity. It is. When you hang on to your story, it's a gravity that keeps you in the story and keeps giving you effects of that location. So I just happened to open up the course last night, and this is from chapter 25 in A Course in Miracles. And it's called The Holy Spirit's Justice, and it's called Framed in Holiness. And it says, the Christ in you inhabits not a body, yet he is in you. And he is not a he. Like Christ doesn't have an age, a gender, a form. Christ is the light that you are, that is our shared identity. And thus must it be that you are not within a body. What is within you cannot be outside, and it is certain that you cannot be apart from what is the very center of your life. What gives you life cannot be housed in death, no more can you. Christ is within a frame of holiness whose only purpose is that he may be made manifest to those who know him not, that he may call to them to come to him and see him where they thought their bodies were. So that seems a little wordy, maybe. And does that make sense, though? Like, who here is manifesting Christ on a regular basis? Yeah. Nice. Hand high up.
He's there with me.
And I want us to talk about that today. Like, I really want people to share what that is for you. Like, for me, what it is nothing more than that I'm conscious and aware of this presence and this power. And I never lose awareness of it anymore. It literally is what I am. And I was reading in A Course in Miracles in chapter 1 this week. It says the goal of this course is integration. And it said that your major problem is vacillation. And so that's the aim that the goal that the Course in Miracles is going for, is to end vacillation. And that's what the Healing Cure, my online program, aims at. Because that was my problem. That was totally my problem all those years. It was like, I'm not a body. Oh, yes, I am. Joy, sadness, certainty, doubt, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up and down, left and right. And I'd have a moment of certainty, and I would just feel total peace. Just like, oh yes, everything's taken care of. I just, wow, I don't have to worry. And then out of nowhere, a bill would come or a phone call, or I'd hear something, and boom, back over there again. So this really is now a dedication to the eternal. So there's a lot of workbook lessons in here that say you must choose. It doesn't just happen. Like you must choose and decide to stand on the side of truth and to make it your commitment. And the Healing Cure was born out of a idea that's in I think it's the clarification of terms. Who is Jesus Christ? What is Jesus Christ? Something like that. And it says that Jesus was a man who came to know his identity and saw the face of God and all his brothers, and saw the face of Christ and all his brothers and remembered God. He is what all of you must become. And then it says, it's right before that, it says, in his complete identification with Christ, he is what all of you must become. And I thought, is that possible? Like, complete identification with Christ. That's the Healing Cure. And what's interesting is that's the 40-day program. Like, I'm doing the 40-day program now, and I'm shocked to my core that this idea has been coming for me for years. And then even you, Nancy, were in that first 40-day program, which was a coaching program, Stop Waiting, Be Happy. It's the same idea. Stop waiting. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the vacillation to end. No, make a decision and just be happy. And is there anybody in this room who thinks they can't just be happy? That it's pretending? Okay. Do you want to say anything on it? No. Okay. But you could be happy.
I could.
If somebody was offering you like $1 million to just find some joy and live in gratitude, could you do it? Yeah. Okay, so So you just can say, okay, like, I don't know that it's possible that I can just reach that state, but would you have the willingness to do it? Okay. Then that's all that's really needed. Maggie?
Yeah, so for me, I don't see the goal as I'm not striving to be happy. I'm striving to be peaceful and not to have conflict and not have my brain going all over the place. I'm not striving to be ecstatic all the time. I don't think that's even anything that I want.
Well, that's so good that you say that. So ecstatic is actually like an ego goal. Like, it's an idea of what happiness is. Happiness is what peace is. So the goal of A Course in Miracles or any spiritual path is that you know yourself. Yourself is happiness. That's what you are. Right? It's not that I'm happy. I am happiness. So happiness is a natural flow as I'm identified with it as myself. So, but I totally get what you're saying, because that was me for years. Like, I thought happiness was like a rah cheerleader kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
when I think of it, that's not. Yeah,
but that's not it. That's what the ego mind will have us do. It'll, and that's why, as a teacher for myself, I often say, don't try to be happy. Just start removing the blocks. That's the teaching. It's what?
The satisfaction is the good happiness to have that's within us. Just to feel satisfied and peaceful is that innate happiness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cheerleading, ecstatic stuff is not the happiness.
Exactly. Yeah, because as you remove the blocks or the obstacles that you put there, you say, okay, I learned these little things to keep me safe in time and space, to get me love, to make money, to whatever, keep conflict away, like all the little habits that are compromises. Like, for me, I used to think it was just easier to just say yes to everything. Like, I was like, I don't really feel like doing that, but whatever, it'll only be an hour, I'll just do it. And I'd have it this since I was little. Like, I didn't want to stay at my friend's house all the time, but she would just not leave me alone around it. Like, so I started staying overnight at her house, but I like to just play in the woods and read my books and bang a tennis ball against the wall outside our parents' house. And I didn't want to stay there, but I realized that it was easier for me just to go do it. Who cares? So I developed a habit of being off center from the voice that's speaking all the time, because I wanted to avoid conflict. So this path of awakening is when you start to come back into an alignment, a center, plugging in, and you're going to feel some discomfort, because then you start to really think, well, I guess I'm going to start saying no now to some things. I guess I'm going to make some people not so happy sometimes. And then you'll get that back. Like, I went through a whole period of people calling me selfish. Like, you don't care about me. Like, if you cared about me, you would just come be with me for a moment, or you would. And so you really start to look at, like, this isn't about changing things on the external. It's about recognizing your own blocks that are keeping the light hidden in you. And so I saw another hand up over here too.
Oh, it's just saying, just the happiness is always available, right? So is it veiled at certain times when we're not feeling it? That was it.
Do you want to say anything more on that?
That I think practicing the Course helps us acknowledge the veils. Oh, and I was also going to say, in your healing cure, that made me think, where is your location?
Yeah.
Right? Like, because that is that place. And if we can witness the veils, then just witnessing them arise, then they dissolve back into awareness.
Yeah, because that was what was helpful to me. I just wanted to also say an announcement. I decided yesterday I'm going to do the Healing Cure live for 8 weeks starting on January 1st. So we're going to do it with a group. Going to actually, those of you who are already in it, you're just going to be in it, and I'm just going to move you over into the group. I started a Facebook group about a month ago, maybe, and it's mind blowing to me. Like I'm seeing the comments in there, and I'm just blown away how many individuals, and I'm seeing it all over the place. I'm seeing that there is a quickening in time and space where people might still be in conflict. There might still be doubt, but it's just this getting back on track. It's like, I don't stay over there. And a lot of the messages that have come in this week that I'm loving, 2 of them are from 2 different people who are 72. I thought it was the same person because they both said I'm 72. And they both have some physical issues, and they've tried everything. Like one said she has an autoimmune condition, and she has done everything. Medical mediums, books, raw food. She's tried everything to heal it. And she's been doing the Healing Cure, and one of the main things in the Healing Cure is fuck it. That's that's my formula for healing. And so there is some joy there, right? There it is. That's funny. And because that was me. Like I was trying to heal, and 6 years went by. 6 years of my life where the Christ is just there, waiting to be made manifest. And there's Lisa. Just nope, I'm just going to heal the body, and I'm going to get a perfect body, and I'm going to be the demonstration of health and vitality and joy. Rah, 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 right, Maggie? And that's not it. Like I really saw, oh my God, the whole time I'm trying to heal, the Christ is in me as me, and I'm blocking it with my own doubt, my own fear, my own judgment. And I really just said, fuck it. And then I had to change it to screw it because I said fuck it in an email. And I got some backlash on that one, that's not what a good spiritual teacher does. So I changed it to screw it, to download it a little bit. And what?
It just doesn't have the same.
But what the woman said though in the Healing Cure was she says the hell with it. That's what she decided. The hell with it. I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. If you're down.
That is true healing. True healing is when you make a decision that you are just going to be happy no matter what. That you are not going to try to heal this thing. Peter has a question. Where's the mic?
Oh, sorry. Oops, no worries.
Who's Bulgarian?
Thank you. Yeah, about deciding to be happy. I feel like many things I made happiness conditional upon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Until they all started going away. And I felt, really, really upset about that. And I'm still in the sadness about all that. And so right now I can't say I'm happy. But, it's a stripping away, and it leads to happiness. I could say that much.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where we get to see the mind tricks. We get to see, like, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if, and it's all based on future. And it's also based on past. Like it's based on, I have a memory of when I was happy in the past. And now, in your situation, your October's gone, your beautiful wife passed away. And so there's like this transition period where life just is different. And so we have like a memory. Like, oh, I can remember when I felt really happy. And if only I could get back there, then I can be happy now and going forward. It's just a mind trick. It doesn't work. Was that a hand up?
So I heard you say, and the others, and I loved it when you said happiness is coming to peace. Like there's a peace, and the peace is always present. And one of the things that I would imagine where Peter's at, or I'm projecting because I can relate, that you can go into a sadness and trust it. And when you trust the sadness, there's a peace about that, not fighting it, not shooting on yourself, not telling yourself you're doing it wrong, but just trusting the process. And for me, that's when I'm really in my faith. That when I just had to talk to a couple of people in my practice as a therapist the other night, a mom and one of her 3 sons. He's the middle son, an adult. And the younger son is now in the terminal stages. He's leaving the planet with cancer. And they're in so much pain, obviously. They don't want this to be happening. They don't want this to be going on. But what I could offer them was to hold the space, telling them to just be who you are. Like the son even said, there was a moment the other day when I laughed, like I should, and I said, no, you should just be being. You're being. It's all a part of it. It's a circle and a wave, and you keep going in and out of it. But to trust the process, that there'll be another way to be in time. In some other time, there'll be another way to be. So I just admire Peter for trusting the process. I think that is Christ. You are showing me Christ in you because you're just being with what is. Because we could be doing things like getting shit-faced or drugging ourselves out or running around like a lunatic trying to avoid what is. It just is. And there will be blessings from this. There will be awarenesses. There will be growth from this that we can't identify right now. So, Peter, you are the Christ for me today.
Yeah, and see, this to me is the work. This is the work of mind training, where you have, like you used a phrase, Irene, you come in and out. Like you didn't say you, but that's the experience that people have. And what my experience is that in and out period comes to an end. It does. There's the vacillation ends. And then there's just this joy, and it's not cheerleading joy. It's a peace that's just solid. Like, I know who I am. I know who my brother is. I know everyone's one with me. So, but my body's eyes still register separate bodies. But I know that's not the truth. And I know that this presence and this power that I now am deliberately, consciously aware of is activating it as I remember it in you, because you're giving it back to me. And so that's the quickening. That's why more and more, like, I'm so grateful that I don't have to do anything, because I know that as I silently remember the truth in my mind, it's activating in every mind throughout all of time and space, past, present, those not here anymore, those not yet born. It's one mind. It's just one mind that we all share. And as we make a commitment to remember the truth in our own mind, that's in every mind. Does that make sense to everybody? Sounds crazy, right? Okay. but it's not, Bill.
I really love what Irene said about the experience that needs to be allowed, because if it's not allowed, it's resisted, and then you're making it real, and you're actually you're pushing it away, and it's just going to get stronger and stronger. Whereas if you allow this experience, and it's not really allowing either, because that's even using a term that, okay, I'll let this happen. It really is a place where you're good with what's happening. And you know how you sometimes you get hurt and people rush up to you and you say, don't touch me, just let me be with this right now. And that's the same thing. You just need to be in the experience fully and allow it to be what it is. And then what is aware of the experience will include it, pervade it, it brings it in, and the experience of that you're not actually dissolves into the knowing of what you are. And that also it requires the word allowing. It also requires compassion from people that always been compassionate. But I'm learning to be compassionate because it's like Jesus said when he said, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." There's no Father. It's coming into the stillness, coming into the presence of I before am is included. That's the Father. Forgive them, Father. Okay, so you're stepping into the light that you are, and you're bringing that experience in there for yourself and for your brother. So it's a healing factor that needs to be allowed. And when people are in that experience, I didn't always know, but you need to let them be where they are.
Thank you. And this is where I love the mind training of A Course in Miracles. I've always expressed it that it's two parts. Like the first part is for you to undergo the awakening. So you know yourself as light. It might not be totally consistent, but it's there. And then you carry it to others. So so often I remember people will say, well, you just put your head in the sand? No. Like, do you just not see the world problems? No. You come as a light in the world, as another solution, that you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay in grief and sorrow. I saw a question over there.
I'm just reminded of, and thank you for everybody for what you shared, because it's given me some clarity. Maggie talking about happiness, and you talking about, doing something to avoid conflict, and Irene talking about being, and Bill talking about allowing. It all, and in the healing cure, what you described, for me, it all comes, when Maggie was talking about happiness, I was thinking the true, for me, the truth that Jesus is talking about when he says, "Rest in me," is conflict, which is allowing and being and saying "fuck it." It's just lack of conflict. I love the clarity that I feel over that right now. That it's just not being in conflict with what is, because I've had the experience of, being fully embodied with Christ, and it's like, whatever you're doing, okay, you know what I mean? I have no conflict, whatever you got going on, because you're just there in it. You're just observing. So thanks. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Yeah, I just want to say before we move on to Linda, just that it's such a great way that you just expressed it, Bonnie, because it's like I always say, don't try to embody Christ. I mean, you can go for it, and I've done that. I've done it that way before, but it feels like make pretend. Like it feels like, well, I'm just like pissed off right now. Like I don't want to embody Christ because I'm in a state, right? I'm in a mood, but you begin to notice that you don't want to be in conflict anymore. Like, that's a huge stage. Like, when you really see, like, I don't need to battle with my brother anymore. Like, I always love that. There's like a Facebook poster that goes around that says something like, I'm at the stage in life, like, if you tell me 2 + 2 = 5, I'm like, you're right. Yep, good. Sounds good. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't battle anybody anymore because I don't battle myself. I'm here on mission, and you want to talk to me about something, I don't care. But I don't have to engage in the conflict anymore. I don't go there. I just don't go there. And that's what, in the healing cure, I call it a bad neighborhood. Like, if you know it's a bad neighborhood, why do you hang out there hoping it will change? It's not going to change. And in A Course in Miracles, Jesus gives us what's called the miracle prayer. It's in chapter 1. And he's telling Helen that here's a miracle prayer that leads out of the desert forever. So the way he describes a desert in A Course in Miracles is it's a place that lacks water. That's where we hang out. There's no water there. Why do you think water's just going to like miraculously appear in a place that's waterless? That's what we do in our lives though, right? We're in a desert. There's no water. There's been no water for thousands of years, but I'm just going to dig my heels in, and I'm sure that if I can just have enough faith, water will come. Right? We laugh because we think that's ridiculous. That in that situation, that's what we do in our lives. We just think there's no love here, there's no water here, but if only I can just finish the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles, and if only I can remove the blocks, water will appear. No, there's no water in that location, which is the thought system of fear. Get out. That's the only solution. He's like, you've got to leave the desert. So the miracle prayer, he gave it to Helen, and Helen at first only got half of it. So the miracle prayer was, if you will tell me what to do, I will to do it. And Jesus said, that's only half of it. That's not, because that still implies that there's a non-doing. It's like a negative connotation. So he said, add this. And so it's, if you will tell me what to do, only that I will to do. That's the miracle prayer. So there's a whole lot in that, right? So that's saying then that you're listening within, first of all, like you're in communication and communion with your guide and inner teacher. You're communing. If you will tell me what to do, only that I will to do. And so you're listening. You're developing a listening practice habit where you're getting guidance. Now, who does that? Does anybody ask within what to do? Mm-hmm. It's a new practice. And when you do it, so when you hear, do you do what comes? Yeah. And do you do only that? Yeah, but that's okay. But that's okay. Me neither. But more and more I'm like, oh, when I try to do it my way, it doesn't go so well. And when I get clear instruction, mostly when I ask the question, if you'll tell me what to do, only that will I do. It's usually something like just be present. That's usually what the instruction is for me. Or be still, be happy. Like it comes in very, Linda's next first.
So my biggest fear is not to get all this teaching and process it, And so that's why I want to talk. I want to give you an update. Like my mother always said, I want to be happy. So it relates to that. And so now she has the Alzheimer's, right? And so but I come to find, it's, you have to have a lot of patience and, cause she's so worried about the smallest thing. And she wanted to help me. Like, had a hole in here. I didn't care about it, but it's true. I had, you always know when you have a hole in your pants. So she wanted to fix it and she couldn't. She spent all day and I let her do it, because she doesn't have a lot to do. She worries about anyway. So that's what I got coming, cause she's my mother. I'll probably end up with that. But, she appreciates me.
Cancel. That.
Cancel.
How do we end up with that? Cancel.
Okay, that's fine. I'll cancel it. It's just an idea. So then I have my son. So quitting school and allowing that, and he's decided to go running because we wanted to go somewhere, and he didn't want to wait. So he ran 11 miles yesterday, and he's doing good. Like I brought him back to baby. Like, maybe we're just starting at the beginning. He needs to learn how to cook. He cooked yesterday and all these basic things. So I'm allowing just to be basic. And that was helpful for me, just to not expect, because miracles can come. And then my daughter got sick yesterday. And that was a good thing because she used to badger me. She jump on the bed when I'm in, like taking a nap, say, you sleep too much. And she's, all over me. But in her health, I'm sick, she says. She's whining. I'm sick. And I look at her, like, what do you want me to do? You can heal yourself. See how you treat me, kind of like it's just allowing her time and not changing her. And then the other one, my friend has my ex in her life, and he's not holding his side, and he's like pulling her down. And she's finally waking up today saying she can't handle this. And there's nothing I can do to help. It's okay.
Yeah, well, what we can do is just hold the truth in our minds. I mean, thank you for that. And you begin to see there's changes in your mind as you view those things. I've known you a long time, Linda, and that's like a great update. Like the way that you're handling situations now is like you would come up here in the past and it would all be worry and why and this and now it's just like a calmness that comes. That's what happens. Like when you're doing the work, the light just starts to just come through. Like you were, just one moment, Bill. I just wanted to say something based on what you reminded me of that's in here. This is chapter 25, and it says, no one who carries Christ in him can fail to recognize him everywhere except in bodies. So that's what I want everyone to just... Can you say that again? Yeah, I want everyone to just start to think, I'm carrying Christ as me. First, it's like Christ with me as something separate. That's how it was for me. Like Christ with me, in me, beside me, in front of me, behind me. Christ goes before me and removes the stones from the pathway. Christ by my side. Christ in the passenger seat of my car when I'm driving. Christ while I'm cooking. Christ with me. And I imagine Christ is that light that was in that guy, Jesus, and that's how I saw it at first. But then that's the integration occurs, Christ as you. Like you're carrying Christ as your identity. No one who carries Christ in him can fail to recognize him everywhere except in bodies. And as long as they believe they are in bodies where they think they are, he cannot be. So if you think you're a body, all you're going to see is other bodies. If you think you're Christ, all you're going to see is Christ. That's just how simple it gets. So it says, and so they carry him unknowingly and do not make him manifest. and thus they do not recognize him where he is. The Son of Man is not the risen Christ. Lisa is not the risen Christ. This body is not the risen Christ. Christ is the light that is our shared identity. That's the Son of God. The Son of God does not have a body. The Son of God doesn't have an age, isn't Jesus. Jesus became aware of his identity as the Son of God. Does this make sense? So the Son of Man is not the risen Christ, yet does the Son of Man is not the risen Christ, yet does the Son of God abide exactly where he is and walks with him within his holiness, as plain to see as is his specialness set forth within a body. You know, there's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, those who think their bodies will think you're a body just like them. But those who have awakened to the Christ in them will see the Christ in you now. So you'll see it's 50-50. I mean, it's more than 50-50 when you're not hanging out in spiritual communities. Like when you're not hanging out in spiritual community, it's like most everybody just thinks, oh, there's Shirley. Oh, I know Shirley. Shirley's got that story from the past. Shirley's this, Shirley's that. Shirley. But there you quietly stand as Christ, and it doesn't matter what anybody does. And it's that presence. Jennifer Hadley stayed at our house last weekend, and we had this awesome conversation about the vibration and the frequency of somebody who's standing in this knowingness. That's what changes everybody. It's like you create a space just from you being the space. And anybody who comes into the space, and it can be just you think of them. Like when I just think of a person, I know I just called them into the space and they just changed. I didn't even talk to them. So it says, the body needs no healing. But the mind that thinks it is a body is sick indeed, and it is here that Christ sets forth the remedy. His purpose, this is the part, Bill, that reminded me, it's his purpose folds the body in his light and fills it with the holiness that shines from him, and nothing that the body says or does but makes him manifest. To those who know him not, it carries him in gentleness and love to heal their minds. Such is the mission that your brother has for you, and such it must be your mission for him. Any
Afterwards, you know, Halloween, you see everybody. Anyway.
I'm not quite sure I understand that. Like with the Halloween and then the next day.
Halloween is what we are.
Oh, Halloween characters. Yeah. We are. These are costumes.
Yeah.
This is the Linda costume.
The Linda costume.
Until the next day. And then it's holy day something.
So I wanted to say that you used a couple of different terms that are a little bit tricky to digest, and the mind actually grabs a couple of these ideas quickly if it's not noticed. And the first thing was, do you see Christ when you see your brother? And if that's given to the mind, the body's eyes is going to use an image of a person and say, why can't you see the Christ? So that's a little bit of a tricky kind of a question. And the mind
It's not tricky, actually.
The mind can't figure that out, though. The mind cannot. It wants to see the Christ, but the mind cannot see what Christ is.
Right. So but what you're describing is when you're identified with the body, you can't see the Christ in another body. Because you've identified yourself as a body. So when I say, no one who carries Christ in him can fail to recognize him everywhere except in bodies.
Right. Well, but I'm going back to the first question that you asked
Mm-hmm.
when you asked the audience, when you see your brother, do you see the Christ? And all I'm saying is, I'm not disagreeing with that question, but the mind is very fast to hijack that question and say, well, yeah, I see the Christ, but what really is going on? Because if perception or visual imagery is being used to so-called see the Christ, it's not happening, because it doesn't happen at the level of form, just what you just said. It happens at the level of knowing.
Yeah.
And you only know your brother or this image as the Christ if you know yourself as the Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody asked the other day in one of our calls, do I see light? She asked me specifically, do you see light? And I said, no, I don't see it. I know there are people who have that ability to see auras, and they can see blocks, and they can see it. They can physically see the light. And there's cameras now that can take a photo and can see where there's a block or whatever. I don't see it. That's the same idea. It's like when I say I see Christ, like I see beyond if I'm seeing Christ, it can only be because that's where my location is as Christ. So I'm seeing our shared identity. I'm not seeing like some mystical thing. It's like I'm seeing
I'm
beyond
only saying that because I know you see, I know what you see because we're always conversing, but I only saw about a fourth of the hands go up in here when you asked the question. And so I'm just really offering a careful understanding for the ones that didn't feel certainty around raising their hands. And also the idea of listening. If you're listening when you ask for guidance, or when you ask questions, if you're listening for the voice that is the mind that's going to start giving you chitter chatter with thoughts, that's another place where the listening doesn't usually. You have to be fairly advanced to have an intuitive connection, so that the Christ presence turns into words that you know that you can write down, because it doesn't usually come in words, right? For you, it comes in paragraphs and stories and just a full understanding. Paragraphs. She didn't come. It didn't come one word at a time. She got a whole download, and then she would write it down in shorthand. So I'm just saying for the guys and gals that really don't understand how to listen, I would say what I do still to this day, I bring my questions that the body mind, Bill has, I bring them into this place of being aware of the question. And I leave it right there. I feel that is the altar of truth. That's bringing the question into the light and not waiting for a voice to tell me what to do. Because when I bring that question into the awareness of the question, I'm going within and I'm leaving it at the altar, and it will be answered. And I'll just then know what to do.
Yeah. I saw right here first, and then Laura.
I think that I know that when you said, do you see the Christ? It's like, do you know the Christ? Are you feeling the knowing? It's just like a belief and a knowing are two different things. So someone says to me, well, you believe that? I'm like, no, I really know that because I know it. I can feel it in my soul. There's a big difference where I used to question myself. I love what they say in AA a lot too, is that if praying is talking to God, meditation is listening. And with the whole Abraham thing, you've got to quiet your mind for 15, 20 minutes a day so that we can get an answer to your source. And in that awareness, it doesn't mean you're going to hear it. It is the awareness. It's that meditation, that quieting, and it comes in. And it doesn't mean that we're going to hear like, yeah, walk over there right now, but I might be led to something. Very simple example. This morning, I'm driving out of my garage and I hit a bag of pellets and they burst open and I saw the pellets and I was like, I'll get it later. I got to get to Amesbury. Something said, go pick them up because I've done my meditation this morning, right? So I go pick the pellets up. And as I'm picking them up, I look over and there's a box all soaked in water. And I thought it was rubbish. And I went to pick it up and it was a box delivered by UPS that someone threw in front of my garage door. I ran it over with my car even. I would have never seen that. But these are simple little things because I'm tapped in, tuned in, turned on. And so it's a knowing. It doesn't need to be complicated. When I see the Christ in someone, I know you're that Christ. Even though right now you might be pissing me off to no end. You know, I'm sitting in court with my ex the other day for 9 hours and I had to keep looking at him and looking down and saying, you awakened me, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for leaving so that I would awaken. I had to keep saying it in my head because it's a knowing. Because if I'm looking at it with my I don't have to complicate it. Seeing is knowing.
Yeah, I love that so much, Laura. But I also want to say, like, when I'm pissed off, like as soon as that enters in, that's not the Christ.
Right.
But you then said, then my ex brought me. So that's where there's the part that to me that A Course in Miracles is the most of all mind training.
Yes.
And Jesus says you do not guard your mind closely enough.
Right.
Like, and he says you need structure and you need time for study and I need you to dedicate your mind to this work so that I can use you when I need you, which is always.
Absolutely.
So then he'll say stuff like, most people are not used to miraculous thinking, which I'm training you. You are being trained to think this way.
Yes.
So when you, that's why the 40 days is watch your mind like a hawk.
Yes.
So you see, like, I'm pissed. Okay. Who's that? Who's that I'm pissed. Certainly not the Christ, who doesn't have a story or a gender or an age or an investment or an judgment or anything.
Exactly.
That must be a little thread of Laura.
Yes.
And it's not, you're not guilty for it.
No, not at all.
But in the mind training, you become aware.
Absolutely.
Wandered a little east of Eden over here. And then you come back.
Yep.
And then that's where the Holy Spirit, Christ light that's enveloping the body and filling it with light. And then you become grateful for your brother for bringing it to you.
Yes.
That you can see it. Irene, yours right there.
Oh, just a quickie for what you were saying before. This goes back before this, when you were saying about asking for the willingness to do whatever you're being impressed to do, right? I realized when you were saying that, but one of the stages that I've gone through, and I didn't realize it till you were just saying, is I used to do that, and then I'd think, now I'm going to get what I want. You know, like if I do what you say, I would have this agenda about how it was supposed to look and what I was going to get, you know. Like if I pray for this other client whose husband is terminal in Mass General, and I know they believe that if they pray really hard, he will live. He will not die, you know, and I know for me now, and I realize this has been big growth, is when I pray, it's that I can be trusting of whatever is, and that I won't lose my centeredness. And that's been a long time coming, and I'd kind of forgotten about that. Anyway. Oops.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like, even in what you just said, Irene, too, like this is where, like, you can say, I don't know how you said it exactly, but to be mindful of looking like, am I going to get what I want? So in that, there's body identity again. Like there's all these clues all over the map. If I think anything's missing from the experience right now, and there's something that I want, that means that I just went right back to being a body identity who doesn't know I have everything. So then I'm like, okay, I would like better health. I would like more money. I would like, who's the I that wants a different outcome from the one that's happening right now? So that's, everybody understand that one? Yeah, that's the ego, the fear-based mind that is the Lisa identity. We're at the end of our time. This has been so much fun. So if anybody wants to carry on the conversation, come to the Healing Cure retreat. Seriously, I'm not like plugging the Healing Cure retreat, but it is fun to be in a room for many hours together with this conversation going on. I know you're coming and you're coming. But that's one of the things that I love, is creating spaces like this where we can just share like what's going on and bring clarity. So I love you. I love you guys. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing about the healing retreat. If anyone's vacillating on whether they should come up here or not, the probably 6 to 7 hours and just the fellowship of it, you should do it. Whether it's the background of already studying with the Course in Miracles and doing the 40-day and living in purpose and doing all this stuff, since I started doing the Healing Cure, which was in December or whatever last year, the retreat in Mexico, and I think the one in New York just exploded my brain. And I can feel that every single day. If someone would say to me right now, what's the number one thing you should be doing? I would say the Healing Cure. Thank you. Because it's not what you think. You're not going to get healed of cancer. But you're going to get healed of worry, doubt, all that's going on back there. Yeah. And every single day it's going through my head what we've learned in that you should do it, sign up for it, do it live. Come to Portsmouth on December 14th, 14th, 15th. Yeah. And just do it. Okay. I love you for doing that. Love you so.
That's what, see, this is the excitement I'm seeing in the Healing Cure, is that there's an aliveness now. I see so many people that were serious and they're not serious anymore. They're just like, I'm just a kid. I just want to have fun. I want to play. I want to express myself authentically. I want to be bold. I want to do things on my bucket list. Oh, I don't even have a bucket list. I'm going to make a bucket list. I'm going to just be alive. And so that's what I love to see, is that's healing the sick and raising the dead. Like we're dead people walking around here when you're waiting for your life to start. And then what?
The Mexico one was off the charts awesome.
I really think it was
thank
the beginning,
you.
though.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so if we can all rise, take a hand. Thank you, guys.
You don't have to spend a shit ton of money to go do it.
If anybody wants to give, I know I've got cold hands.
I'm going to warm those babies up.
To support this this space, there's a donation button online. There's a donation button
We put a button
in the back.
to donate, and we also put a link to the Healing Cure, and we put it to the Healing Cure.
Oh, great. So,
yeah.
Thank you. So, who wants to do a closing prayer? Will you? Is that a yes?
Oh, I'm not very good at this.
You're totally good at this.
Okay. I'm a walking prayer. Well, yeah, I just had to do a prayer earlier this week too, so I guess I'm getting practice at it. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I know we're not supposed to look at the past or the present, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, who cares? We only got a few more weeks where we're all together like this, and then we're going to branch off into our own little worlds. And I want to thank every single person in this room that has been in this room, in this world, in this orbit, for making us all much better teachers of God, for bringing us all together. We'll be friends forever. And I can't wait to see you all in the orbit. I want to bless Lisa and Bill and for this idea, and we're just going to be thankful. And go out. If you're in the Northeast today, we got winter, kind of. And have a great day.
That's awesome.
And be a teacher of God.
Yes. Perfect.
Be happy.
Be happy.
And now we'll do the. And now we'll do.
That was the prayer.
You rocked it.
That was it. You rocked it.
That's the way I pray.
That's a great prayer.
That's authentic prayer.
That was authentic prayer.
I can't get into the words. I can't remember.
I know, it was perfect. We flashed out of here. All right. I love you guys. Thank you, live streamers.
Blesses and multiplies. I really.